What's up, guys? Justin Davis here, Really Bad Gamer. Today we are playing a little Baldur's Gate 3, but we're going to be talking about the classes in the new early access of Baldur's Gate. Now, there are going to eventually be more classes added on, but these are the classes we have so far. Cleric, Fighter, Ranger, Rogue, Warlock, and Wizard. And they work pretty well. It's pretty accurate to the 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons player classes, the classes. So we're going to be looking at this today. Now, we have selected a Wood Elf to use today because he gets the proficiency to his stealth. So we're going to be doing that today just so you can kind of get an idea of like the different types of proficiencies that you can get as far as skill proficiencies with some of these classes and everything. So we're going to start with Cleric. Cleric is one of my favorite classes in 3.5 and 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons tabletop. You get, with Cleric, you will get Life, Light, and Trickery domain to choose from. So Life is going to be your when you think of a Cleric, you think of that support character, that healer. You think of the buffer, the debuffer. You're looking at your Life domain Cleric. The Life domain is an aspect of many good deities offering spells that protect and restore the mind, body, and soul. The only difference in the selection of class with clerics, your domain really goes with the deity that you choose. The deity that you choose is so important to the cleric's background, who they are. So this kind of disappointed me when I saw like Loth and just a bunch of different ones that don't share the Life domain. Like that was kind of like, I don't really care for that. Like Moradin, right? So that kind of was like, or Loth, definitely not Loth. So that kind of got me down. I would like to see them put the deities in here that only share the Life domain so that it's more accurate to 5th edition. But when you are thinking of the Life domain Cleric, you're coming down here, you're looking at your cantrips. You're going to get to choose from 5. Guidance, Light, Resistance, Sacred Flame, and Thaumaturgy. Of course, you're going to take that Sacred Flame. If Sacred Flame ain't in there, then you're not going to have much as far as magical offense. So Sacred Flame is always good. It deals radiant damage, so if you're seeing undead creatures that take an extra damage because it's radiant damage, then you're going to do some extra damage in there. So when it comes down to these cantrips, really you have one offensive and the others are situational or defensive spells. So Thaumaturgy, you're going to be able to cast something that's kind of going to take the attention off of someone, the enemy, to maybe turn around, take an attack of opportunity, get distracted by something, so that one of your other friends can come in there and really deal some good damage. Resistance is going to magically bolster a creature's defenses. It receives a d4 bonus to saving throws. So if you're fighting creatures, or you're really about to do anything where you think a saving throw is going to be used, this is a really good way to really kind of give you that extra bit of help when you're making those saving throws that could be, life-threatening, So this resistance is always good. Light. Infuse an object with the aura of light. Now, if you're wanting your character to be more selfish, maybe more self-indulged, maybe you don't use light if you're an elf. You have dark vision. or if you're a drow, or if you're a dwarf. You know, if you have dark vision, then technically you don't need light. But if you're really wanting to be that super helpful cleric, just like a life domain usually is, they're all about healing and stuff like that for their teammates, then maybe light's good if you have some humans on your team. Um, Light is going to be able to light up an area to help your friends be able to see who can't normally see in dark places unless they have a torch. Light is a good way to not have to waste resources, and it's a cantrip. Guess what? You can cast it whenever you want. Guidance. I really like guidance here. It gives you it gives a creature of your choice a D4 bonus to ability checks of your choice. If you're coming up to something and you know you're going to have to roll a skill or ability check, then you can cast that on yourself or on a friend who has a higher chance of achieving that ability check, and you give them an additional D4 bonus to that roll. So guidance is always good. Depending on the type of cleric that you want to be, I would suggest taking Sacred Flame, Guidance, and then either Light, Resistance, or Thaumaturgy. Since you're taking Guidance, maybe you don't want to take Resistance, maybe you want to take Light. It kind of changes it up a little bit. But if you really want to be that debuff, powerful support character, I think Resistance, Guidance, and Sacred Flame would be great. The Sacred Flame is just to give you a little bit of offensive magic firepower. Okay? We're going to go down to the prepared spells. So these are the spells you know. Bane, Command, Create Water, Guiding Bolt, Healing Word, Inflict Wounds, Protection from Good and Evil, and Shield of Faith. Okay? Shield of Faith should be an automatic if you're a life domain cleric. Shield of Faith, of course, we can go into this, but I'm not going to use necessarily Healing Word. And I'll tell you why here in a minute. But I would use Shield of Faith, which is going to add a +2 to a creature of your choice, you know, yourself or your friend, whatever, +2 to their AC. You give that to your fighter who's going to stand and fight and attempt to protect you. You can at least help that person enough by giving them a bonus to their AC. This is a great buffing spell. Do not leave without having this spell. Okay? Protection from Good and Evil. That's a pretty good spell. It's going to protect you against aberration, celestials, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. I don't think it's necessary, but it can help you if you're afraid of being charmed by these creatures. Inflict Wounds. I like Inflict Wounds. It's kind of odd that it's necrotic damage. It is 3d10. It does a lot of damage. But really, if you're going for life domain, you don't need more than one offensive attack. And if you're just going to do that, in my opinion, Guiding Bolt is the way to go. I think Guiding Bolt does a great job. Technically, Inflict Wounds can do more damage. It can do, at max, 3d10, 30 damage. Okay, this is going to run you 24 damage. But in my opinion, I just... range of 1.5 meters, 18 meters. So really, yeah, you're going to have to really be right up on the enemy to use Inflict Wounds. This you could use at range. If you're a life domain cleric, it's possible you're kind of squishy. You may have lower hit points, you may have lower AC. Guiding Bolt is the way to go. Like I said, we're not using Healing Word, so we're not using Inflict Wounds or Healing Word. We'll show you why. Now, if you want to use Healing Word, you can. You can put it up there. But Healing Word is a decent spell. Alright? It's going to give you or a friendly a 1d4. So if they're, and you can cast it at a range, right? So if your friend's far off and they're really hurting, you know, maybe they get downed, you can pick them back up using this. But man, it's not going to give them much. And if their turn isn't almost right after yours, the enemy's just going to knock them down anyways. Very situational. Sometimes, I don't know. To me, it's just not the greatest spell. It's very situational. Create water. In this game, create water is going to be incredibly important. If you do not have create water, you're going to be in trouble. There's going to be so much fire and poison and things like that laid out in the ground environmentally. Using create water is going to help you in so many ways. In the standard D&D game, create water may not be a great spell. In this video game, it's a good spell. Use create water. Have it up there. So, now we have command and we have bane. I would go with bane. Okay? So you see, these are the original spells. I think bane is great. You target up to 3 creatures. They receive a D4 penalty to attack rolls. If you and your team's getting beat up, you can target 3 creatures, yourself, 2 others, or 3 of your friendlies, and you're going to be able to help them against attack rolls and saving throws. So Bane is like a super buffing move, and if you're going life domain, I think this is pretty necessary. Command in the actual tabletop game is a incredible spell. It's not bad in this. I just don't think it's better than maybe create water. No, that's almost a must-have. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stick with these 4 guys. Yeah, it's just, if you're really going for that buffer, then this is great. If you're going for command, could work, guys, but honestly, these are my 4. If you was gonna get rid of one of them, I would get rid of Bane, and I would take command. I know create water may seem stupid, but man, when you're getting in these environments and you're caught on fire, your friend's caught on fire, and you can save them by putting them out or they're going to burn to death, it's pretty important. So we're going to come down here, we're going to see, you know, a lot of your proficiencies. You're going to see all the spells. Now, because you chose life domain, you're going to get 2 additional spells. You're going to get Bless, which is basically like Bane, but it helps your teammates. This is going to help your teammates. The Bane is going to hurt the enemies. So this is basically just the opposite. So maybe, since we do have Bless, you could just keep Bless, get rid of Bane, and use the command spell. That actually wouldn't be bad. So actually, yeah, I would change that, guys. I would go to Bane, I'd get rid of that, and yeah, I would put in either command or healing word. Healing word, just for the situational. The command, you can just stop people in their tracks if they fail. I believe it's a wisdom saving throw. So, if you're fighting someone super wise and intelligent, probably not the greatest thing to go, but so yeah, I would either put command or healing word. Me personally, I would put command. And then you have cure wounds. This is why I wouldn't put the healing word spell in there, because you're going to get cure wounds. It's also a level 1 spell. You do have to be right up on your friendly, so it's basically you touching your hand to them and healing them. But you're getting a 1d8, not a 1d4. I just feel like you can situate yourself in a good enough spot. So, yeah, to help your friend. So that's what I would do. So if you're focusing on really buffing and being that healer, that's where I'd go. If you want, you can take off that Bane. I don't know why it's still there. And you can put on Healing Word if you want. If you really feel like that's what you need, then do it by all means. It's just not personally a spell that I like to run to because it feels sometimes very meaningless when you pick up your friend just to be knocked down the very next round, and you waste the first level spell doing it. So yeah. Next. Light Domain. So Light Domain is all this normal stuff we've been talking about, but you're going to get, man, with the Light Domain, you're going to get several spells. Burning Hands, which is a offensive, you basically touch someone, it's 5 meters, so it is a little closer. It's within, that 5 feet kind of range. It's going to do 3d6. So that's a good one to have. It gives you another offensive spell. You're going to get Fairy Fire, which encases multiple targets in colorful light. The targets turns visible. So if they're invisible, this is a great spell to use. And attack rolls against the target have advantage. So when you or your teammates are attacking that target, the ones encase multiple targets, the multiple targets that you hit with this, when you attack them, you're going to have advantage on the attack. Now, it does take a dexterity saving throw. If they pass that, then I think they're good. So that's something you have to think about. You get light. Okay, so if you're getting light up here, you certainly don't need light on your prepared cantrip. So you would want to make sure to take that off if you have that set there. You're going to get Bless. We've already talked about that. And you're going to get Cure Wounds. So, it's possible, if you want to take that Cure Wounds off, well, yeah, you'd keep both of those on there. Yeah. So, that's what I would do if you're really going for the Cleric of the Light Domain. It's really more of your more magical-based Cleric. Yes, there is some buffing, but you have some more offensive magic in there and some environmental kind of magics in there that kind of gives you that very magical, wielding potent divine magic. So it's really based on a lot of magic. You'd want your wisdom to be high if you was going to take this Cleric. And then Trickery. Of course, Trickery is going to be your Cleric with a little bit of mischievousness to him. Kind of roguish a little bit. So, we're going to go down here. We're going to see the spells. You're going to get illusionary enchantment type spells. So you get Charm Person. You get Disguise Self. So you get to disguise yourself. This can be a good spell. You get Charm Person. Also, a very good spell. You're going to get Blessing of the Trickster. Grant another creature advantage on stealth checks. This can be great if you have someone in heavy armor taking disadvantage on stealth and you really want to be sneaky. You can use this if it's really important, and you can kind of get that advantage on your enemy that you're sneaking up on. And then, of course, you're going to keep these 2 spells here. So that is your Cleric. So it's pretty much all up to you. Any of the races that we talked about that really have that bonus to wisdom, is really good. If you're wanting to go tricky, you want to try to make sure you get a dexterity bonus. If you are going life or a light domain, I would definitely look at having your wisdom being the highest, and then maybe focusing then probably focusing on your constitution or dexterity, depending on what type of armor. Maybe for a light domain, it's dexterity. For a higher armor class, whatever. We're going to talk about fighters. So, with your fighters, they're, you're not going to have a whole lot of magic you have to worry about. The fighter is the cream of the crop when it comes to your melee attackers. items, right? Like, you're not going to worry about a whole lot of magic, anything like that. You're going to get second wind. It's not really a spell. It is a bonus action. Okay, it's going to give you an additional 1d10 plus 1 hit points. And you can do this once a day. So this is really good. You're in there, you're fighting, you're taking some pretty serious damage. Your Cleric can't get to you. Your healer can't get to you. You have no potions. Guess what? Second wind. You get some hit points back, and you're back in the fight protecting your party again. As you see, you get light, medium, and heavy armor, shield proficiency, simple, and martial weapons. So you just have a buku of different options as far as how you want to fight. Do you want to go a two-handed sword? Do you want to go dual wielding? Do you want to go sword and shield? There's so many different options that you can go here, guys. Super good. And of course, if you're going this class, you're really wanting to look at strength, constitution. If you're going heavy armor, you don't really have to worry about your dex as much. You can kind of make that your dump stat, because with heavy armor, it's not going to count anyways. So that's something that I would think about. With a ranger. With your ranger, you're going to pick favored enemies. So it's going to kind of give you a breakdown of, as bounty hunter, you gain proficiency in investigation and learn the thieves' cant passive. Wow, that's cool. Creatures you restrain have a harder time escaping. Keeper of the Veil, you specialize in hunting creatures from other planes of existence. You gain proficiency in Arcana and can cast protection from good and evil. I'm going to be honest, I really like this. It doesn't quite feel like this in the traditional tabletop game. Like, it feels like, in the tabletop game, to be honest, Ranger kind of feels bare bones sometimes. But I like that you're getting these proficiency bonuses for your favorite enemy. It's not just like a favorite enemy that you have advantage when you fight them. You have history of battling spellcasters. Gain proficiency with Arcana and the True Strike cantrip. Wow, that's cool. Which gives you advantage on attack rolls against the creature. That's awesome. Then Ranger Knight. You have sworn to serve a crown or a nation and seek to bring its foes to ruin. Gain proficiency with history and heavy armor. Oh, okay. Sanctified. Now, I don't know... Oh yeah, okay, heavy armor. So you can basically be a knight as a ranger. Of course, I think people limit rangers to bow and arrow, but as a ranger, you can wield a sword. There are melee fighting rangers. So you can think about that. If you want to be more of that fighter, ranger, knight type, you can use a bow and a sword. It's great. Sanctified Stalker. You sworn to hunt the enemies of the Holy or Druidic Order. Gain proficiency in religion and the Sacred Flame cantrip. So I like this because not only can you wield a weapon and a bow, but you can also use a Sacred Flame as a cantrip whenever. So you have magic now. So I really like the Sanctified Stalker. Wisdom is your spellcasting ability for the spell, so you'd have to think about that. But, yeah, I really like that. And you gain the religion proficiency. So you're Natural Explorer. Beast Tamer, you have cultivated a strong bond with animals. You can cast Find Familiar as a ritual. So it takes some time. An expert at navigating the wild within the city, you gain proficiency with the Disguise Kit and Thieves' Tools. So, you know, that's kind of a little roguish. Wasteland Wanderer Cold. You have spent days surviving the tundras. You gain resistance to cold damage, only taking half. And it's basically the same with fire and like poison areas. You're only taking damage, half damage from those elements, which is good. So you have those. I really like the Ranger here. I'll be honest, I haven't even looked at the Ranger that much because the Ranger feels so bare bones in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. But I'm really liking this, and I could definitely see myself playing, maybe a sanctified stalker with a little bit of beast tamer, or even I would say fire's probably going to be used a lot. So sanctified stalker with the wasteland wanderer of fire to get that half damage from fire. So pretty good. I like it. Rogue. So when we're talking about rogues, you're talking about having a crap ton of skills. Um, Rogues are wonderful. They have so much flavor to them. They're sneaky, they're stealthy, you can act however you want. You can be a good character and still be a thieving, nasty varmint, and people will still love you because you're a rogue and you help them pick locks and crap. So rogues are great. You're going to get a couple proficiencies, mostly things that you can use, like, because rogues need their dexterity. You're going to get a lot of things that are based on dexterity, or that you can use finesse to use them with a dexterity bonus. So, of course, like a rapier, it's a finesse weapon. Hand crossbow, short sword, they're finesse weapons. You're also going to get sneak attack melee and sneak attack ranged. And that's going to deal extra damage if you are sneaking and they don't see you. So having that, everyone knows sneak attack and things like cunning action are the greatest things you can have for a rogue in the 5th edition tabletop Dungeons & Dragons game. So having this sneak attack is the creme de la creme of the rogue. And if you don't use this skill, then there's no reason to play rogue. But wonderful class. I suggest the rogue all the time. They get a ton of skills. They're just great. I friggin' love rogues. And of course, if you're looking over here at the proficiencies, you're seeing the different proficiencies, guys. That's kind of popping up. We'll show you. Okay? The Cleric. You have some for your fighter. You have some for your ranger. A good bit for the ranger, actually. 7. And then you have, what, 8? Yeah, 8 for your rogue. So they are just your skilled up class. You're going to have a warlock. Warlocks are more offensive magic. They're not like a wizard. They're not like a sorcerer who have just a ton of magic and a ton of knowledge with magic. Basically, you're bound to a pact. You have certain spells based on the pact that you made. Basically, it's someone who wanted to learn magic but wasn't patient enough, so they made a deal with either a fiend, a great old one, or several more. They'll probably add more later on, but you got the fiend and the great old one. And that's going to kind of switch up your spells. So we're going to talk about the fiend first. You're going to get Eldritch Blast, which is the creme de la creme of the warlock. If you're not using Eldritch Blast every turn, your party will look at you and spit in your face, because that's what warlocks do. They Eldritch Blast and they move. That's it. No, I'm joking. Eldritch Blast is really an incredible spell. It's a great spell. Use it as much as possible if you're a warlock. It does 1d10 points of damage. You can really deal some good damage as a warlock, and they're not as squishy as the wizard. I believe you're going to get a 1d8 hit die, so you're going to have more health. I feel like warlock has a ton of flavor and a lot of opportunity because of your pact that you make. And you're going to get Blade Ward, so you gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from weapon attacks. This is great. Someone's about to attack you, use this. If they hit you with a melee weapon, whatever, they deal bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing, you're only going to take half damage. And you're going to get Armor of Agathes. I'm going to say Agathes. A Spectral Frost covers you. Gain 5 temporary hit points, and deal 5 cold to any creature that hits you with a melee attack. It's pretty good. Arms of Hadar, or Hader. Call forth tendril of dark energy. Targets take 2d6 necrotic and can't take reactions. I love this. I love this so much. It reminds me of Ben from the Umbrella Academy, and he is wonderful and beautiful, and I love what he can do. So, yeah, this is wonderful. Use this. This is great. I would definitely use that. And of course, you can customize. Wow, that's going to be tough, guys. There's a lot of good stuff for your Warlock. Most of it's going to be damage, of course. Most of it, not all of it, but a lot of it's really going to give you that extra damage, and some of it's support. Gosh, man, the Warlock's looking really OP as far as the spells that you have and you can do, especially Eldritch. I mean, these are cantrips, guys. You can cast these all the time. 1d12, a cantrip, 1d10. Like, it's wild. I use Eldritch Blast in the tabletop version because you can add additionals to it. It's kind of being able to upgrade. It's like Eldritch Blast is your basic gun, but you're able to add things to it to make it even better. But if all you're going to do is the 1d10 and you can't upgrade it, Poison Spray may be the way to go. Well, that's only 3 meters, and that's 18 meters, so I would still look at Eldritch Blast. Blade Ward is really good if you're about to be attacked. You don't want to be attacked. You can always put Blade Ward up there. So give you a little look at these. So I feel like divine a character's defenses to give you advantage. Yeah, I would definitely go with these two. Eldritch Blast and Blade Ward. Oh man, and you just get so many here too. Now these are level 1 spells, so they're going to do more damage. You're going to get Witch Bolt, Protection from Good and Evil, Hex, Hellish Rebuke, which is a great spell, does a lot of damage. If you wanted that, to really do that damage. That's 2d6. If you really wanted to have that opportunity. But I always like going one kind of attack and one defensive spell. So I would probably put either... I mean, that ain't bad. I would put either Charm Person, curse a creature to deal an additional 1d6 necrotic damage whenever you hit it with an attack. Oh, wow. Also has disadvantage. Or Hex. You know what? I think I would take Hex. I think I would take Hex over that, because every time you're hitting, you're adding an additional 1d6, and they're going to take a disadvantage when they, on one ability of your choosing. I don't know, guys. That one's kind of tough. Maybe Charm Person. Charm Person could go over really well. And of course, you're going to get the Dark One's Blessing, which is when you reduce a hostile creature to 0 hit points, the gift from your patron grants you Charisma modifier plus level hit points. Not temporary hit points. Hit points. So for your Charisma mod plus your level, if your Charisma mod is a 3 and your level is 1, then you're going to get a 4 when you drop someone to 0. Using Eldritch Blast, a powerful spell, you're going to be able to gain that additional hit points. Super powerful. Super powerful. Then the Great Old One. You're going to have pretty much the same type of spells. In cantrips, you're going to have the same spells. Right here, yeah, you're going to have a few different ones. Dissonant Whispers. You're going to have, it takes 3d6 Psychic and becomes Frightened. So it's an attack, but it also frightens an enemy. So that is actually a really good spell. Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Your opponent will break out in fits of laughter, leaving them prone and incapacitated to do extra damage and things like that. To be honest, I probably would use these too. You're going to get your damage here, and you're going to get a really good spell here. I love that Arms of Hater, but man, I'm thinking if you're doing 3d6 instead of 2d6, and yeah, it is a wisdom saving throw. This is a strength. So yeah, I would go with Dissonant Whispers and Tasha's Hideous Laughter. And this kind of gives you the eldritch kind of feel to your character. You don't get that extra little feat, or not feat, a feature um, at the bottom like the Fiend does, the subclass feature. But that's okay. I think the spells are a little more powerful as far as the first level spells here. Whoa! Okay, guys, this is even better. Your hit points is it's a hit die of 10, a D10, not a D8. Warlock, I'm gonna say, Warlock may be the OP class in this game so far. I'm saying it right now. I like it. I don't think it's too OP to ruin the game, but I definitely think Warlock's the way to go. Beautiful. I love Warlocks anyways. Wizards are your straight magic casters. We won't go over all the spells. I'm going to cross them. You can pause it if you want to check them out. Because with Wizards, there's so many different ways you can go. I can be on here for 30 minutes just telling you about the spells and what you can do to build your character. If you're wanting to be more offensive, you're wanting to attack more, you're going to go with the evocation cantrips. Okay? Evocation is going to be your ice, your electricity, your fire, things like that. Your elements, your attack spells. That's what you're looking at there. Okay? So, you got Firebolt here, Ray of Frost. But you're going to have an opportunity to have man, so many of these are evocation where it's just like, do damage! So, Wizard's going to be your glass cannon. A Wizard is only going to get hit points of a D8, which is actually not too bad. In the actual game, it's, you get a D6, plus your Constitution modifier. I don't know if they add that in, how they do it, if they just set a base HP, or if they go by Constitution as well. But anyways, because that would be a... Let's see here. Let's see if it changes, so we'll have a good idea. Let's say we change this to a 11. And let's go back to the class. Now it's 6. So it is a D6. Yeah. So the Warlock would have most likely actually been a D8. So not as OP, but still, the Warlocks, I'm still saying, is probably the strongest class in the game. But you're going to get many spells. You're going to get your cantrips, 3 cantrips starting off, and you're going to get a whole buku of spells, guys. Like I said, not going over all of them. Depending on how you want to play your character, if you want to do more damage, then you're going to put on more evocation and damage dealing spells. If you want to be more of that support, strategic wizard who's helping your teammates, messing up the enemy, maybe you go different things. Maybe you go enchantments, maybe you go illusion magic, things like that. Maybe you go aberration to buff a little bit. Those are the types of things you can do if you're looking to go down that route. And then you have your prepared spells. These are your prepared spells, so just additional spells. Things like Fog Cloud can be super useful. It's just something to definitely look at. Mage Armor is always important. If you're going to be a wizard, put on Mage Armor. Don't say to yourself, oh, well, if it comes down to you and an enemy, and you're the last one because you're in the back casting spells, and you have a chance to win it for your teammates, but that enemy is coming after you, maybe it's a fighter, maybe it's a ranger that can deal some serious damage, put on friggin' Mage Armor, guys. Take Mage Armor. It's super important. It can save your party. It can save a TPK, okay? A total party kill. So, yeah. Pick Mage Armor. And of course, an action, you're going to get Arcane Recovery. This is going to give you a recovery for some of your spells once per day. Out of combat, not in combat, out of combat, you can replenish some of your expended spell slots, which will allow you to cast spells. So you're going to have a lot of spells you can cast, guys. You're going to have more options. You're going to have more spell slots as the wizard. The wizard's super powerful if you're really wanting that straight magical caster. Do not jump in the front of battle, guys. Get out of there. Let your fighters, your rangers, your clerics stand between you and immediate death. You glass cannon of doom. If you want to deal damage, do it from the back. You don't have to do it from the front. Don't get prideful, okay? Don't get prideful. Anyways, with that being said, that is your wizard. Of course, you're going to get all these proficiencies, the bonus to your wisdom, your proficiency with your wisdom, intelligence. Spell slots. You gain 2 level 1 spell slots, which are restored on a long rest. But you'll get more with your arcane recovery. It's just a good class, guys. It's a good class. So, with that being said, we hope you enjoyed this. In my opinion, oh man, I'm going to put Warlock and probably Rogue on the upper tiers. Ah, man. Warlock and Rogue on the upper tiers. I'm going to put probably... I really like... I'm going to be honest. I'm going to put Rogue and probably Ranger on... Maybe even Fighter on mid-tier, depending where you go. And then probably on the lower tier, I'm going to put the Cleric or maybe the Fighter. Not saying it's a bad class. Not saying they do it wrong. But I feel like, as far as spell-wise, sometimes you can feel a little limited with the Cleric. And of course, just the deity thing kind of throws it off for me. But I play a Cleric in the game. I love Clerics. I will continue to play a Cleric because I enjoy playing Clerics. But that's my opinion. Cleric's probably on the lower ratio. Warlock is definitely on the top, right near Rogue. Wizard seems really good. He may be mid-tier. Maybe it's Warlock, Rogue, Wizard, Ranger, Fighter. Fighters seem pretty good, but they may be on the bottom because sometimes they can feel a little bit basic. Yeah, you have a lot of options, but I'm going to put that on lower tier too. So it's probably Fighter is the lowest, Cleric next, then Ranger, Wizard, Rogue, Warlock. That's kind of how the order I would put them in, of just power level and just being all around feel like a good, clean class. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're going to be playing more Baldur's Gate. We're going to be playing a bunch of different games, guys. I'm really bad, but I hope you will stick with us and watch me play really bad so it makes you feel better about yourself. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a great day. And to all of my fellow bad gamers, much love. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.